Hello and good evening. Welcome along to NTV Weekend Edition, yet again for our digital edition of our news at 9 p.m. I'm Jerome Paul Sonko. It's the 2nd of August 2026, and we are here to bring you all the stories that have been making headlines across the country. Now we kick off with Kalanzi, one of those that is sharing his experience from prison after nearly 6 years behind bars. And it's an experience that Sheriff Kalanzi says remains the worst. Kalanzi is one of the 9 National Unity Platform NUP supporters who were granted amnesty and released on July 31st after spending years in prison on treasury charges. Now, speaking to NTV, he recounted the arrest, torture, detention, and prison life that he says remained the darkest chapter of his life. Take a look.
May 17th, 2021 is a date Sheriff Kalanzi says he will never forget. At around 2:30 a.m., he says several armed men arrived at his home. Looking through the window, he says he saw about 9 men carrying guns and sticks. Fearing what was about to happen, Kalanzi hid in the ceiling while his frightened wife opened the door and told the men he was not at home.
They beat my wife first. I stayed hidden in the ceiling. When they realized she would not tell them where I was, they pulled my children out of bed and started beating them too. I had my children crying, and I could not bear it anymore. I came down from the ceiling. Then they turned on me and started beating me.
Kalanzi says the beatings continued as he was driven away. At one point, he says he felt being shot would have been less painful than the torture he was enduring.
I was beaten so badly, it felt like cans were raining down on me. About 9 people were beating me at the same time. It was a brutal assault. They demanded my phone, and they also took my boda. I had bought it on loan, and it was still new.
He later realized he was being held at the CMI, where, according to him, the abuse continued.
It's beginning.
Every step of the journey felt like the beginning of another phase of torture. As they transported me in the premier, one person would beat me from one side while another beat me from the other. On one occasion, I was told to soak in water as they continued beating me.
During interrogation, Kalanzi says he was repeatedly questioned about alleged bombs and asked about several people, most of them supporters of the National Unity Platform, including Olivia Lutaya and Yasin Sechitoleko, also known as Machete, among others. He says interrogators also wanted to know who the noob Robert Chagulanyi was working for.
They kept asking me, who funds Chagulanyi? Which country supports him? Where does he get his money? I told them, you should ask Chagulanyi. I see him just like everyone else. I don't know those things. They also asked me what our next plans were. I said I didn't know. The woman interrogating me said, this one won't help. Take him away, but don't mix him with the others.
He says he was later transferred to the Special Investigations Unit in Chireka, although he says he was often taken back to CMI for further interrogation.
Every morning, they would take me back to CMI. They were not taking me there to feed me or question me fairly. They were taking me there for more beatings.
It was in Chireka that he met other detained NUP supporters and began piecing together the places he had been to. As the days turned into weeks, Kalanzi says he and others demanded to know the offenses they had committed and they wanted to be taken before court.
People had vowed they would not eat until we were taken to court. The following morning, security people were even more tough. There were 2 drone vehicles and lead cars. The officers had covered their faces. They loaded us into the vehicles and drove us at a high speed to the court-martial.
When they eventually appeared before the court-martial, Kalanzi says by looking at the panel, he feared they would never regain their freedom.
When I saw the panel of generals, I thought to myself, all these generals are seated here because of a man who doesn't even own a razor blade. At that moment, I knew there was little hope. They read out our charges. We did not even respond before we were sent to Chitalia prison. Some people vomited. It was a very difficult day.
They were later transferred to Chitalia prison, where Kalanzi describes life as a daily struggle for survival. He says prison is a place he would not wish even on his worst enemy. He also says many inmates insist they are behind bars for crimes they did not commit. According to him, prisoners find different ways to cope within the prison community.
They tell you that you have the rights. But what rights? If I had the power, I would put it in the Constitution that every lawyer, every judge, and everyone who signs the final judgment should first spend at least 6 months in prison. Only then would they truly understand what prisoners go through. Maybe then they would think more carefully before remanding or sentencing someone who is innocent.
According to Kalanzi, prolonged imprisonment can take a heavy toll on inmates' mental health, with visits from family members providing one of the few moments of hope.
At Chitalia prison, I was surprised by the number of people who came to visit me. Many people showed me support, including people I had never met before. The truth is, I had never been in active politics. It was my first time being politically active, and that is how I ended up in prison.
After spending nearly 6 years in custody, Kalanzi was among the 9 NUP supporters granted amnesty and released on July 31st. The group had jointly faced treachery charges. They had remained on remand after refusing to plead guilty, maintaining that the charges against them were fabricated.
nga n'abasiraamu tukkiriza nti asagafulula bw'ejja wano nga mbizi ezaawo tugituleke tufulumye ekibabo kino twatuuka okukkiriza naye kati imagine wootuukira awo kitegeeza obusibe bwa bukutuuse wano mu mbeera eyo twali twaniriza embeera yonna etuzza waki wabweru.
Now, united with his family, Kalanzi says he's grateful to everyone who stood by him throughout his imprisonment, his wife and children, relatives, members of the public and leaders of the National Unity Platform. He says every prison visit reminded him that he had not been forgotten. As he begins rebuilding his life, Kalanzi says he hopes to reintegrate into society, pursue his dreams once again, and hopes to receive the support needed to start afresh. Norbert Atkunda, NTV Weekend Edition.
Now moving on. Frustrated by slow progress on the delayed Masaka-Chotera-Mutukula Road, Transport and Works Minister Fred Byamukama has threatened to sack the contractor unless visible progress is made within 90 days. He has also warned against a scheme involving ministry officials and engineers aimed at inflating the project's cost by 150 billion Ugandan shillings.
Transport and Works Minister Fred Byamukama has given the contractor constructing the Masaka-Chotera-Mutukula Road 90 days to make visible progress, warning that failure to meet the deadline will result in termination of the contract and its award to another company. The 86-kilometer road, valued at 692 billion shillings, commenced in 2024 and was expected to be completed within 40 months. However, only 23% of the work has so far been completed. The project was awarded to Chongqing International Construction Company, SICO. Byamukama issued the ultimatum during an inspection of the road following mounting complaints from leaders and residents over the slow pace of construction. The minister alleged that investigations had uncovered attempts by some Ministry of Works officials, engineers and the contractor to manipulate the project in order to access an additional 150 billion shillings from the Ministry of Finance.
23% I'm not happy. The physical progress of the work, 23% I'm not happy. And this one has been because they have been moving around with our engineers, trying to twist around in the name of changing the pavement to get more 150 billion. We have rejected it. At the same time, they have been buying time such that they can start getting that money from finance, because the law says if you have refinanced after 2 years, you start paying them.
Byamukama directed the contractor to begin laying asphalt and ensure significant progress within 90 days to restore normal transport and business activities.
I've given them 90 days. They should start their work of tarmacking. Failure to do that, we shall terminate the contract. But you saw the engineers who were involved in this project. The president chased the resident engineer, Olach, chased him away. He was the one who was conniving with contractors, show them, let's steer government through this way.
The minister's visit followed a petition by Masaka City Mayor Florence Namayanja and concerns raised on the floor of Parliament by Chotera District Woman Member of Parliament Fortunate Rose Nantongo over the delayed works. Residents complained of excessive dust, saying the contractor only waters sections where active work is underway, leaving the rest of the road dry. They said the dust has hurt businesses and accused the contractor of failing to compensate some landowners whose property was affected by the road expansion.
Enkoko zonna zyafa zeweddewo n'eŋŋanda ze twali tulunda bw'otuuka ku nkoko eŋŋanda yadde empanga nazo tezikyasobola kokolima zaalwala ssenyiga.
Twafiirwa abatuuze baffe olw'enfuufu eno, era enfuufu eyo tokoma kutta bussi wabula n'okulwaza.
Others asked the minister to install speed bumps to curb the increasing number of road accidents along the route. Byamukama directed the contractor to sprinkle water along the entire road at least 3 times a day until construction is completed. The Masaka City Mayor Florence Namayanja said the project has damaged several roads previously constructed by the government within Masaka City and destroyed streetlights during the road works.
Fe temunja kutwononera nguudo ezatuweebwa government netuzikola bulungi. You can imagine ekizibu abatuuze kye balimu.
Chotera district members of parliament, including Fortunate Rose Nantongo, Haruna Cheyune Kasolo and Ismail Lubega Kaka, urged the government to prioritize completion of the road, describing it as a vital regional trade corridor.
Because this road is a very important road, it's a border road, it carries heavy traffic. The dust is too much and it's causing so many accidents. Because of the delays in the works, the towns that are very busy have no humps, meaning that speed is uncontrolled.
In the agreement, I hear that the road was supposed to be done within 2 years. But up to now, according to the minister and engineers, they have only done 23%. Say that the wars taking place in the Middle East are affecting the shipping lines which are bringing the bitumen to Africa. But they have promised us in front of the minister within 90 days, at least the bitumen will be started from Masaka up to at least Chotera.
Meanwhile, the contractor, SICO, stated that the war in the Middle East has delayed the delivery of materials needed for the project. However, they assured the minister that they will work as soon as the materials arrive and remain committed to completing the project on time.
You refuse that something given to you by government in China, you twist us around.
No, we shall follow, okay. And that we have already all the bitumen, they're on the way coming, okay. I appreciate that the time you gave us, that we shall bring within 90 days, okay, and we start work.
So you are assuring me by the 90 days you have already started on the tarmacking?
Yes.
You are sure?
Yeah.
You are sure?
Byamukama reiterated that the contractor has only 90 days to demonstrate substantial progress, warning that failure to do so will lead to the cancellation of the contract.
In the Horn of Africa, stability is never finished. It is held by will, and for nearly 2 decades, African forces, led largely by Uganda, have kept Somalia from sliding back into chaos. Daniel Kibet reports that as external support fades, the question is no longer whether the mission continues, but whether Africa's own resolve can become the foundation of Somalia's future. Details of this and more in this week's Diplomatic Watch.
Hello there and welcome to Diplomatic Watch. Tonight, we examine a pivotal moment that will shape the future of peacekeeping across the Horn of Africa. The United States and the United Nations are set to end their financial and logistical backing for the African Union Support and Stabilization Mission in Somalia, that is AUSOM, by 31st December 2026. The decision has cast a long shadow over the mission that has held the line against Al-Shabaab for nearly 2 decades. Troop-contributing countries have raised serious questions, with some floating conditional withdrawal threats. Yet, this week in Kampala, African leaders struck a different note, one of resolve, self-reliance and determination that Somalia will not be abandoned. At the invitation of President Yoweri Museveni, heads of state and senior representatives of the troop-contributing countries gathered for an extraordinary summit held at Speak Resort, Munyonyo, in Uganda's capital, Kampala. Their message was clear. Africa will fund and sustain the mission even if traditional partners step back. President Museveni was characteristically forthright. Closing the summit, he dismissed concerns over the Western pullout.
These Western countries pulling out, this is not a problem. If they want to pull out, they pull out. Because all the problems we have solved here, we never did them with anybody's support. Somalia is not going to be abandoned because of some other people outside. And we have the capacity. Whether the others pull out or not, we shall manage.
He reminded the gathering that Uganda has no border with Somalia. Its nearly 20-year commitment was never about geography, but about principle and strategy, a pan-African duty to stop the export of terrorism that once threatened the entire region. Uganda's role remains central as the largest and longest-serving troop contributor, first under AMISOM, then ATMIS, and now AUSOM. Uganda forces have been instrumental in reclaiming Somalia's capital, Mogadishu, securing supply routes, and degrading Al-Shabaab's capacity. Thousands of UPDF personnel continue to hold the line, often at great cost. That operational reality was underscored by Chief of Defense Forces General Muhoozi Kainerugaba. Chairing the meeting of military chiefs, he warned that United Nations support has already been cut by 25%, forcing frontline adjustments. Yet, his call was one of unity and innovation. African forces must provide clear military guidance and strategic direction as the mission environment changes. Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud expressed deep gratitude to Uganda and the other contributors. He appealed for continued leadership, especially in mobilizing the financial resources the mission still desperately needs. African Union Commission Chairperson Mahmoud Ali Yusuf echoed the same determination. He paid tribute to the bravery of AUSOM personnel and reaffirmed the Union's commitment.
We are determined to preserve the gains of AUSOM and to conduct an orderly transition grounded in the realities on the ground. And the third message is that we intend to pursue a close dialogue with all our partners in order to secure support that is predictable, sustainable, and consistent with the priorities defined by Africans themselves.
The implications are profound. Without the United Nations Support Office in Somalia, the logistical backbone providing fuel, rations, medical evacuation and transport, AUSOM faces severe constraints. Al-Shabaab is watching closely, ready to exploit any vacuum. Yet, the Kampala summit has sent a powerful signal. A joint task force of foreign ministers, the Somali government and the African Union will now pursue predictable financing, including a donors conference. The leaders have also urged the United Nations Security Council to maintain uninterrupted support for another 18 to 24 months to allow a responsible handover to Somali forces. For Uganda, this is more than diplomacy. It is the continuation of a strategic investment in regional stability that began when few others were willing to act. As President Museveni put it, Africa has solved its problems before without external military backing, and it can do so again. The clock is ticking toward December 2026. The question now is whether African resolve and new partnerships can fill the gap left by the United Nations and the United States, and whether the hard-won gains in Somalia will endure. This is Diplomatic Watch. We will keep watching. I'm Daniel Kibet.
We now turn our focus onto the health sector. Infertility is often viewed as a women's issue, yet medical experts say both men and women contribute almost equally to the challenge. As more Ugandan couples seek fertility treatment, advances in reproductive medicine are providing new hope, from assisted conception to preserving fertility. This, as Walter Mweseje reports.
For many couples, the journey to parenthood is far more difficult than expected. Infertility affects millions globally and can result from conditions affecting either the man, the woman, or both.
We may not point at a particular factor, but there are some factors which are contributing to the low sperm count. For instance, we have heavy smokers. It won't not only affect the low sperm count, but it will affect the sperm quality due to the tobacco consumption. Then another factor could be excessive alcohol consumption. Can affect sperm production. Some women may have what we call a premature ovarian failure. Yeah. So it is just premature that their reserve has, for some reasons, gotten is getting depleted. Yeah, irrespective of the age. Some people have polyps. Yeah, polyps can prevent implantation of the embryo. Then we may also attribute it to advanced age. Yeah, where we find that some women, as they age, I may not say a particular age, but mostly if you are above 50 years, you may find that your reserve is drastically reducing.
Doctors say seeking medical evaluation early is key, as many causes of infertility can be diagnosed and treated.
If you have trouble conceiving within 1 year of constant intercourse, you should really seek fertility specialist to intervene.
Where natural conception is not possible, assisted reproductive technologies such as in vitro fertilization or IVF are helping couples achieve pregnancy. During the process, eggs and sperm are fertilized in a controlled laboratory environment before healthy embryos are transferred into the uterus.
Can do tube assessment to ascertain the fact that they're not blocked. Then We can also run tests to see if at all your ovaries still have enough eggs, so that we can know that every cycle probably you have an egg at your exposure for the sperm to fertilize. Yeah. And then on the side of men, we can do semen analysis to ascertain the fact that your sperm count is normal or not. Yeah. So for a couple to qualify for IVF, their partner has to have blocked tubes. And then for the husband side, you really have to have severe oligospermia.
But fertility care is no longer limited to helping couples conceive. It is also helping patients protect their future ability to have children. Cryofertility, also known as fertility preservation, allows eggs, sperm, embryos, or reproductive tissue to be safely frozen before treatments such as chemotherapy or major surgery that could affect fertility.
Any woman in their reproductive age can undergo egg freezing. So how it's done, you undergo assessment to understand your ovarian reserve. Then the ovarian reserve tells us how many eggs you're left with and the quality. It also talks about the quality of the eggs. And if you're still in the safe zone, you undergo treatment which takes about 12 days, after which the eggs are extracted. They are prepared in the lab and they are stored in what they call liquid nitrogen. So it can be stored for as long as you ever want, because it's in a place where we can just say they are in a dormant stage, but they can be used for the future, in any time in the future. So it's a very safe environment. It's not what people think. Some people think it's like a fridge, but it's not a fridge. It's liquid nitrogen, which is so cold, and they're in a glass state. So they can be kept as long as someone wants to use them.
Specialists say preserving fertility before treatment gives patients the opportunity to plan for a family when they have recovered, offering hope beyond their immediate diagnosis. They are also urging the public to seek professional medical advice early instead of relying on myths, stigma, or unproven remedies, noting that early intervention often improves treatment options and outcomes.
You can have your child this year, and you can choose to come back after 5 years, and you give birth to another child who is 5 years younger than that current time. So Bethany has been here for some good years, and there are some clients that stored embryos back in the day, and they'll still come and use the same embryos and carry a normal pregnancy. So it is something that we see happen every time. It's a very common thing. And in our clinic, actually, people who use frozen embryos are more than people who use the fresh ones.
As reproductive medicine continues to advance, experts say infertility should be treated as a medical condition, not a source of shame, and that timely diagnosis and modern fertility care are helping more families to turn hope into reality. Walter Mwesije, NTV.
Elsewhere, before dawn breaks over northern Uganda, women set out beneath towering shea trees to gather fruit that has sustained generations. From these fallen nuts comes shea butter, which is more than a cosmetic ingredient, and it is the butter of life, woven into every stage of life from newborn care to burial sites. As climate change, charcoal burning and deforestation threaten this ancient resource, the conservationist and entrepreneur Ojoko Kello is leading a movement to protect the region's shea trees, ensuring that the lifeblood of northern Uganda continues to nourish both people and livelihoods for generations to come.
Community members in Otuke district have a new reason to celebrate. A shea nut processing factory has opened in the area, creating a ready market for farmers who have long harvested shea but struggle to sell it in bulk.
Planting the shea tree is very important because the global demand for shea butter over the last 20 years has increased by 600%. That means we have to ensure a sustainable supply of shea butter, and the only way to ensure a sustainable supply is by planting the shea tree so that the trees can bear fruits from where we get the butter.
Ojoko Kelu, the Chief Executive Officer of Okere Cooperative Society, says the factory will absorb thousands of kilos of shea nuts and improve incomes across Lango.
A sustainable supply of shea butter, and the only way to ensure a sustainable supply is by planting the shea tree so that the trees can bear fruits from where we get the butter. Now, it takes up to about 10 years for the trees to start bearing fruits. There is a myth, though, that the trees can only start bearing fruits after 20 years, but that is false, because all you have to do is plant the tree, take care of it, make sure that the tree doesn't suffer from wildfires, and then you'll be able to harvest the fruits from your tree just within a short period of time of 10 years.
He explains the two main ways shea butter is made. Traditional method: nuts are dried for 49 to 50 days, roasted with ash for even heat, pounded into pastes, then boiled for hours. The oil rises, is sieved and cooled into butter.
Local production of shea butter is time consuming, takes a lot of effort as well. So what happens is that we assume that the nuts are already dry. So we will get the nuts, we shall roast the nuts. Usually the nuts are mixed with ash because the ash enables the uniform roasting. If you don't put the ash, some will get burnt, others will not get ready, and so the ash enables that uniform roasting process. And then it's later pounded. You have to get a paste out of it, so it's pounded with a mortar and a pestle. After the pounding, you have to get that crude paste and you boil it for several hours, for some 2 to 3 hours. Once you have boiled it with water, of course, you let it to settle. The oil will come on top, the crude and water will stay beneath, and then you will now be able to save it and get your butter.
Ojok says it's labor intensive, often making from morning till evening, but deeply cultural.
It's an amazing, culturally rich process, and the love around it, it's so important. So next time you eat shea butter or moyao, which we call it in Lango, just know that it's brought to you with a lot of hard work. It's brought to you with a lot of love, and so we hope that it really will nourish your body.
Modern method: the factory uses mechanical crushers, dryers, and cold press extractors.
But also, shea butter can also be made using cold pressing. So basically, you're using a machine. You're just getting your dry nuts and you're putting it inside a machine, and it's crushing it and it's pressing the butter, and then you're filtering it. That is mostly used, cold pressed shea butter is mostly used as a cosmetic grade product. You can use it the way it is to moisturize your skin. It's an emollient. It keeps the skin soft. It keeps the skin moisturized. It helps your hair to be softer and easier to comb. And it also has many other health benefits. There are scientific studies that prove that shea butter helps to reduce stretch marks, that prove that shea butter also actually makes you grow slower because it has micronutrients that slow the growth of wrinkles in our faces. But most importantly, shea butter is amongst the very few non-greasy oils in the world. So the butter that you put in your skin, it doesn't have any grease at all. That means it doesn't clog the pores of your skin, and so your skin will be able to get the food that it needs to stay healthier.
This cuts processing time, reduces contamination, and produces higher volumes of consistent food-grade butter for cosmetics and export. For Otuke farmers, the shift means faster payment, better prices, and assurance that their shea trees, conserved for generations, now translate directly into cash. Ojoko Kelo, the founder and the chairperson of Shea Cooperative Society and the chief executive officer, is leading efforts to ensure shea trees across northern Uganda.
Butter. And so shea butter is a very crucial oil. In fact, again in northern Uganda, we call it the butter of life. Because when a child is born, shea butter can also be applied to the umbilical cord of the child to quicken its first removal. And as the child is growing up, we are smearing it with shea butter. And as the child turns into adult, they start eating food. The food they're eating is fried with shea butter. And then on that beautiful day when we die, shea butter is also applied to the dead corpse. Because we believe it's a very important cultural ingredient and spiritual product as well. And that is why in northern Uganda, or among the Lango and the Acholi people, we call it the butter of life.
He trains communities to protect shea trees until maturity, ensuring they keep bearing fruit that sustains livelihoods for generations.
And that is why, as Okere Shea Cooperative Society, we've been working with farm. We have a big nursery bed where every year we raise up to 100,000 shea seedlings, and we distribute the seedlings to farmers so that the farmers can plant. We also train them on tree planting and conservation techniques.
Shea trees thrives across Africa's Sudan savanna belt, including 21 countries. Uganda's subspecies Nilotica sp. grows in northern, eastern, and west Nile regions.
Specifically in 21 African countries. There are two subspecies of shea trees. There is the Paradoxa, which is the variant or the subspecies that you find in West Africa, also called Paradoxa, and then there is the Nilotica, the ones that you can find specifically in only 3 East African countries, and that is South Sudan, Uganda, and Ethiopia, particularly in the Gambela region.
The fruit, rich in vitamin C, falls naturally between May and July.
Shea trees provide nuts. The nuts provide essential butter that helps to moisturize our skin, that is rich in vitamins, and also helps to nourish our bodies and our skin as well. The fruit of the shea tree is also a very rich source of vitamin C.
Women collect it as early as 4 a.m., dry it for 49 to 50 days, then roast, pound, boil, and sieve it into butter.
The women wake up as early as 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning to go and collect the shea fruits. They bring the fruits home and they will dry it, the fruits of course, and then dry it. After drying it, they will have to remove the shell. The shea fruits fall by themselves. You don't have to climb up on the tree to shake it. In fact, it is a very bad practice to do that. And you are able to now remove the shell. After removing the shell, you have to keep on drying it further. You have to dry the shea nut for at least 40 to 50 days so that all the most of the moisture content is removed. Once it is now dry, you can produce your shea butter through two production methods. There is the traditional process, which is a very laborious, time-consuming experience.
Beyond skincare and machine, shea trees enrich soils and flowers support bees for pollination.
The shea tree provides very key function in facilitating pollination. The flowers of the shea tree is very sweet and they smell so amazingly, and the bees love them. And the bees come and get the pollen, take it to the gardens or to the various crops that we plant, and they also help our crops to provide better yields.
Okere's nursery raises 100,000 shillings yearly to expand planting and secure the shea economy for northern Uganda.
We have a big nursery bed where every year we raise up to 100,000 shea seedlings, and we distribute the seedlings to farmers so that the farmers can plant. We also train them on tree planting and conservation techniques. Moyao, really nice shea butter. So you first stir your food, your gira, so that the shea butter, it's hot. So the shea butter goes everywhere. Now you can enjoy your meal. This is yummy. Oh my goodness. Very nice.
I'm Julius Chen, reporting for NTV here in Otoke.
Now, away from that, we turn our focus on the latest from the world of sport, and we start off with the Commonwealth Games from Scotland. The national netball team, the Shea Cranes, settled for 6th place at the Commonwealth Games in Scotland after suffering a 62-54 defeat to South Africa in the 5th place classification match. For the Shea Cranes, the result marked a slight decline from their performance at the 2022 Games, where they defeated South Africa 54-48 to secure 5th place.
Uganda's national netball team, the Shea Cranes, settled for a 6th place finish at the 2026 Commonwealth Games after suffering a 62-54 defeat to South Africa in the 5th place classification match. The Shea Cranes had an excellent start, aiming to repeat the 2022 victory over Spur Proteas, dominating the opening quarter with a 17-12 lead. Later, South Africa gained momentum and over